Yo.
Ew.
Oh man, I know it's funny. We haven't done a lot of these Jeltzes this year. I think this is the 5th episode, whatever, that we've done the entire year. But man, I don't know about you, but Eagles 4-0.
Hey, I know that I had them 3-1. I had them losing this game, so I'll gladly be wrong on this one.
I feel good. I do. I was scared on this one too. I don't want to sit there and act like I was some shaman that said, "Oh, they're going to be 4-0 or whatever." Going back to our preview episode, I certainly was scared of this one, for rightfully so, for what happened a couple of years ago in the playoffs. And the Buccaneers, quite frankly, Raymond James Stadium is a house of horrors for the Birds. There's nowhere else to put that. And
yeah, it's Todd Bowles. He just gets his teams ready for us. His defense really knows how to shut us down, and they looked like they were down for the count at the half, but as we all learned in last week's game, you never count a team out after one half, because they teams have a way of coming back on you, and especially in the Florida heat and humidity, which the Eagles, so much is being made about that getting into their heads. God, what? Shut the fuck up, Bird. I swear to God, I'm sure you could probably hear that over the little fucker just started going.
Is D from It's Always Sunny in your room?
I might be. No, these are little tiny birds that I really just want to pick up and throw out the door so that they can fly away, because their wings aren't clipped. So that would be the nicest thing that could be a birthday present for me, would be these birds escaping and flying away. But anyway, man, I mean, you can't count any team out, and much was being made of the heat and humidity being in the Eagles' heads. So much so that they were talking about the heat and humidity in Kansas City, and they went to Florida a day early to try and get acclimated, which, again, much was made of that not being enough time. Even Baker Mayfield mentioned it, and it's true. There's nothing really in the world like that shitty heat and humidity that you get in Florida that you can't be prepared for it unless you live in it for a while.
No, no, you're domed in, right? I mean, you're surrounded by water on all sides. I mean, that's what it's like living in that environment. And yeah, I heard the Baker Mayfield comments as well. And he's not wrong. I mean, it does take, hell yeah, you can show up a day before and whatever. Your body as a natural human being does take quite a bit longer to get acclimated to an environment like that. You know well that, very much, because you live there. You know how that goes. It's it's going to take more than just a day to get acclimated to it. However, game face on, you have the Super Bowl champions in your yard. They're going to try to do anything possible. Yeah, the showing up a day early is not going to maybe make the difference. But you know what does make the difference? Blocking the punt. The game after, almost like a couple special teams plays after, if you will, the blocked field goal in the Rams game. So, like, you show up with special plays, you have special players, doesn't matter what environment you're in, you're going to win football games. And that's exactly what the Birds did today. And, man, I love it. 4-0. Jalen just doesn't lose.
Yeah, the dude is a winner. That's all there is to it. Jalen Hurts is a winner, and that's something you can't teach. It's something you can't coach. It's just an innate thing, and he has it. So
yeah, and I love you see the sideline shots of him, and he's on the bench during obviously when the defense is out there, and it's stone cold. I love it. Like, he's a gamer. He gets it. There's just no shaking him. it doesn't matter. Look at last week. You know, you're down. Everyone's thinking that you're down for the count, even, you know, the faithful, and finds a way to win it. And then tonight, or today, I should say, it's not tonight necessarily, but he just, you know, man, they just find a way to win ball games, and I love it. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer maybe let's get some blowouts in here to ease my blood pressure, but you know, as long as we're winning the games and I don't die in the process, I'm good with it. You know,
Dude, it's awesome. I do want to get your thoughts on a couple things about where we're sitting right now in the NFL season, comparative with, you know, we have a funny thing going on right now in our own division with, and we're you know, we're gonna preface this by saying the Cowboys are going to be playing the Packers here momentarily. We're recording this prior to that point. The Giants won against the Chargers, which I think is a big win. Jackson Dart, you know, NFL debut. Got to give him a lot of credit for that one. But then on the other side of it, the Commanders lose to the Falcons, who were just a destitute team the first 3 weeks of the season. So I'm really curious your take. You know, let's not talk the Birds. What do you think stands of the NFC East right now with, you know, I don't know. What do you think?
well, the Giants get the monkey paw kind of deal going because yeah, they finally get Jackson Dart in and they have a legitimate quarterback and a good offensive line. They have Cam Scatterboo as a decent running back, and their defense looks good. But they just lost their number one receiver for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
So
Malik Neighbors. I do have to mention that one too. Malik Neighbors is done for the year. Yeah, it sucks. You know, I don't want to be sitting there acting like I'm the biggest Giants fan. I'm obviously not. But I hate seeing players get injured, and it's just, it sucks. You know, it is what it is. You know, it sucks.
right. And Washington, you have to preface with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin were both out for this game. So, you know, you're not – what's happening is the Birds are building up a lead while these other teams are dealing with these injuries and everything. So right now they're up 2-0, or well, not 2-0.
Yeah.
2 games on everybody else at this point in the NFC East.
Right. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. So I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna flip up the stand again. We're talking about this prior to the Cowboys are playing the Packers tonight. They're about to kick off, but Eagles 4-0. You know, then you have the 2-2 Commanders, the Giants and Cowboys both sitting at 1 win apiece. I find it hard to believe that the Cowboys find a way to beat Green Bay tonight. I just don't see it. Green Bay's tough. You know, take that for what it is. But this rest of the division is finding their way / faltering. And what I think is going to happen is, as long as the Birds can stay healthy and make smart decisions, it's going to be a NFC East division runaway at this point, because I just don't see right now anything out of the other 3. And maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe I'm, you know, putting the cart before the horse, so to speak. But yeah, I'm just not seeing a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, as long as, like you said, as long as the injuries don't break the Bird, you know, don't break the wrong way, and the Eagles don't end up getting a ton of injuries, we should be head and shoulders above everybody else in the NFC East, especially with the injuries that they're all getting. You know, Jaden Daniels makes Washington a special team. Without him, they're run of the mill. The Cowboys right now are dealing without CeeDee Lamb, and now he should be back in a couple weeks, but still, you take away their number one receiver. What do they got? On defense, it's a whole lot of nothing.
So
You know?
you bring up a good thing there. The Cowboys without CeeDee Lamb. So Buccaneers played today without Mike Evans. I don't know that throwing him into the game makes it a whole lot different outcome. But Evans is a special player. I will give him that. He's a gamer, long time. I don't know what year 11, 12. I don't know what it is with him at this point in the league. He's a gamer. Been there a long time. You throw him in there with a returning Chris Godwin and Abuku, man, I don't know. It could turn out differently tonight. But
my aunt had nuts. She'd be my uncle.
So I love it. I love it, man. The what ifs, right?
That's the thing. I mean, look, if the Eagles have Adoree Jackson, does he make some of the plays that Keely Ringo missed? Probably not. But, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And with the injuries and everything, everybody's dealing with injuries. So you can't really – yeah, I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I said, well, with Jaden Daniels, the Washington is a completely different team. Well, that's your quarterback, So your quarterback, yes, your quarterback is going to change your team dynamic. And that's one of the few positions where it's like, all right, well, that you rely on that. So without him, that is good. With that, your quarterback is quarterback, goalie, and I don't know. Those are the two most important positions in all of sports: quarterback in hockey, or in football, and goalie in hockey.
And I would say, I don't want to say this in baseball. I think catcher. And I only say that because, in our lifetime, we've been blessed with having some fantastic catchers. Phillies wise, and we'll get into that here momentarily. But catchers tend to call a lot more of the game in baseball that they're given credit for, and in fact, I think that seems sometimes to be underappreciated. And we've been lucky that way, and you're exactly right looking at it that way. And the thing I wonder though, you mentioned Keely Ringo. Looking at his stat sheet today, 4 tackles, whatever. I think Keely played a very 50-50 game. I don't know that he was somebody that I said, I went off the team. But I don't know that he was somebody that I was like, obviously like, oh, wow, he's awesome. Very middling type game. That's what I expect out of that second, third year type guy, though. Like, I don't like it's somebody that is filling the role. They're not a typical starter. So I got out of him what we got. It is what it is. I tell you though, the things I did like about today's game, man, and my goodness, I love the fact that he's got the captain's letter on his jersey, is Zach Bond. My goodness, every play that guy just seems to find the ball, and it's awesome. I don't know about you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Zach Bond he's been a revelation for this team and his defense, and you can't overstate his importance to the team. He's the quarterback of the defense. Yeah. And we've lost some good players on defense. Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter was out for some plays. We've Nakobe Dean has been out. There's been some players that have been banged up and dinged up, and even Lane Johnson was out for some plays. But on the offense, but you can't overstate what Zach Vaughn means to that defense. And when it came out early in the week that he was hurt, I got real concerned because you need him on that field.
Yeah.
And luckily he was okay.
And I don't want to act like this is what it is, but seeing him all over the ball today, it's like, to me, it's maybe in this game and how we had him last year, it's reminiscent of seeing Urlacher on the Bears, like that kind of player where you're just all over the ball. You're where you need to be. You make smart decisions. and it's crazy because he was a castaway throwaway player on the Saints.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me, and I love it. How he makes the right moves. I just love it. I love it.
Well, and that one we got to give credit to Vic Fangio because he was the one who saw him and said, "Look, I need that guy for my defense.
Yes,
that's the player I need to run my defense."
Amen. And Fangio's defenses, man, the way he's run his defenses the first 4 games of the season, my goodness. I mean, just incredible because they could easily be sitting, 2-2, at best even, right? I mean, that
right.
Yeah, incredible play calling. Just was worked out though, 4-0. But you and I have said this before, and I want to make sure that this point is made clear. You've said this. I've made sure to back you up on it. Every game is winnable, and right now that's where they sit.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to baseball. We don't talk a lot of baseball on here, mainly because hell, the Eagles have been so good, right?
Right.
But let's not discount the Phillies. Phillies have had a run and a half for the last several years. They have been incredible. I'm a Phillies guy, first and foremost. And you know what? Another division title this year. And what makes this division title even sweeter is that today the Mets missed out on the playoffs entirely because they just collapsed hard. So it just makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah, it never hurts when that happens. It always adds a little extra to it.
Phillies are what sitting pretty. We have a number 2 seed in the playoffs. Milwaukee ended up with number 1. It's fine, is what it is. They own the tiebreaker anyway, and late in the season, the Phillies kind of showed Milwaukee off anyway, so I don't feel terrible about that.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you. I don't feel.
No, the thing is with the Phils, I'm really not concerned. The only team that really still concerns me is LA.
Yeah.
Just because they're so loaded.
Yeah.
But I'm not scared of the Brewers. I'm not scared of the Reds.
The Dodgers concern me too. I'm gonna take a quick glance here and see the Phillies Dodgers series for this year. So back on the 4th of April, Phillies beat the Dodgers 3-2. And then Dodgers won 3-1 next game of the series, and then Phillies won 8-7. So for basically the first couple weeks of the season, very early, Phillies at home took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. Right, it's a different team then. But you fast forward all the way into middle of this month, which is basically a couple of weeks ago, where we're at recording today. Phillies took 2 to 3 from LA at their stadium. So 2 out of 3 both series early in the season and late in the season. I feel good about that. I don't know.
I do too. I just, it's one of those things where they've got such a loaded lineup that you never know what's going to happen. And so many of them, they've got so much October success in them that it just worries me. We're like the Phils have had success in going to the World Series. They've had success and they've gone to the National League Championship Series. And then they've also gotten blown out in the wild card.
Right.
And I just don't want to. They're a team that if they get going like a buzzsaw, I don't want to run into them. I'd rather take them out early, before they get really, really with momentum on their side.
So we're gonna play a little a game here. And again, based on how it sits, we're talking the postseason picture, right? So LA is playing the Reds. I think you and I are both in agreement there that LA is likely going to win that best of 3.
Yeah, I would say so.
So All right, let's play a little game here. San Diego and the Cubs.
Ooh.
Guess the best of three.
Oh, man. The Cubbies would take that, I would think.
Okay.
And the
So-
Cubbies, didn't they have a better – don't they have the – or didn't they end up beating us in the season series?
The Brewers did for sure. Let's put. I don't know. You might be right. I don't. No, because the Phillies would have home field. Brewers are the only ones that would have the. Yeah, the Phillies had. Yeah, no. So in April, the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, and then in June, whenever the Cubs were in Philly, the Phils took 2 out of 3 then. So yeah, no, we're okay there. So Cubs Brewers, what do you think there?
I mean, who do I think would win between the two of them?
Yeah, Cubs Brewers, because if the Cubs go, which I agree there, I think the Cubs can handle the Padres.
I think the Brewers end up beating the Cubs.
So now we're moving forward into the Brewers Phillies, which obviously we're gonna play with our hearts here. We had the Phillies, right?
Yes.
Going to the World Series. Okay, so let's call it the other side of the coin here. Let's go to the AL. So Seattle and Toronto have the bye.
Seattle.
Okay.
Oh,
well, they had the bye.
Sorry.
No, you're good. They had the bye. You're getting a little. No. You're getting the cart before the horse here. They had the buys, right? You've got Cleveland, and somehow Detroit lasted. I don't know how, because they were up 15.5 games in August and nearly lost out on even making the playoffs, but somehow made the playoffs. So Cleveland and Detroit. What do you have there? Take a guess.
Cleveland.
Okay. I think you're right. I do, because Detroit's floundering.
Yeah,
so Cleveland,
they're in free fall right now.
Yeah, Cleveland going to play Seattle, but let's hold that real quick. Boston and the Yankees.
Ooh. I'm going Boston. Boston's the hot team coming in. What do they clinch on the second to last day, or
yeah, they're hot. They're ridiculous. You've got Boston, the Yankees. Okay, Boston. So Boston would go on to play Toronto. Toronto's the overall number 1, by the way.
You know what? I'm feeling a little certain way about it. I'm going Boston.
Okay. All right. So Boston. So we got Seattle and Cleveland then.
Seattle.
Okay. Seattle and Boston.
Seattle
in the Phillies World Series. How would you feel about J.P. Crawford against his former team?
Dude, I would love a Seattle, like
a Cal Raleigh, Kyle Schwarber World Series.
So fun fact, Mr. Cal Raleigh, his dad played ball with one of the lieutenants I work with.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So no, but dude, the Griffey fan in me from the 90s is loving a Phillies and Seattle World Series.
Man, I'm with you. I'm with you on that a lot, mainly because I want to see Cal and Kyle just go.
Cal and Cal.
Yep. Cal. But part of me, though, I need the rematch.
Yeah.
My childhood needs the Blue Jays.
No, dude, I agree with you on that. I
don't care about the Yankees. I need the Blue Jays.
Yeah, you know what? For my childhood to be healed, I need it to be the Blue Jays and the Phils.
Man, I don't know. I do love the fact that the Mets are not a part of it. I love the fact that Boston, as you said, is hot. They're going into it, against the Yankees, and that'll be fun. 3-game series. That's going to be a fun one. I don't know, man. It's fun. I'm just glad that the Phillies were, good enough to get a bye, home field in a 5-gamer, either against Dodgers or the Reds. It Phillies have a stacked, and I don't know if you saw Nola's last game that he pitched, but it was damn near perfect. And a couple of mistakes. Nola's back. You have Sanchez, you have Suarez, Luzardo. How this team could win without their number one starter is ridiculous. But that just speaks how deep this team is.
Right.
And that's the thing. No other rotations scare me. I'm not confident. The Phillies don't have to go up against Jalen Carter, and that's what I like.
Yeah. We don't got to worry about that. So that makes me happy. That and no Quinyon Mitchell.
Before we end tonight, though, I do want to get your take on Flyers are firing up preseason, right?
Yes, they are, with new head coach Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, so dude, let's go, man. I want to hear your take on what you think, because I'm not into the weeds with the Flyers at this point. So let's go. Let's close it up with some Flyers chatter.
They're going to be awful. That's not what you were expecting me to say, was it?
Yeah, I wanted you to at least give me something.
No, they're going to be awful. No, they're a rebuilding team. I think the floor or the ceiling for them is a low playoff seed or high playoff seed, however you want to look at it. Like I'm talking like 6-7 seed.
I know.
The seed or the floor is pretty low, lottery pick. It's really going to depend on how the team comes together and what Tockett's messaging is. But I can't imagine them being worse than they were under what's his name? Fucking God, I hate him so much I can't remember his name. Tortorella.
Yeah, John Tortorella.
Yeah. He was the one that if he would have been coaching Team USA, I'd have been rooting for Team Canada.
Yeah. Tockett's a pretty famous Canadian hockey player. I mean, he was a former Flyer.
Yep.
It's the reason why he's back home, basically. Well, United States home.
Yeah. He's a good coach. And I think that he could, given the chance to develop the players and given some actual talent, he'll be able to turn the franchise around. It's just going to be a matter of figuring out which players are going to be part of the rebuild still and which players need to be shipped out. Who's going to be valuable, who's not, and just going from there.
Real quick, though, we don't talk Sixers on here. Sixers have decided to go back to their Allen Iverson era jerseys, black with the white, scripted lettering. Very, very iconic, Allen Iverson type stuff, right? There's been some things posted with, Embiid wearing this stuff, and it's just, look, if the guy's on the court, cool. Whatever, right? What do you think about the Sixers going back to this 2001, 2002, 3, the old school 25 years ago style?
I think, it's pretty cool. It's obviously they're trying anything at this point that they can to get people invested and get people excited about the team. And when Paul George and Joel Embiid are your two tentpole players and they're both out still for an indefinite amount of time to start the season, you've got to bank on anything you can. So I think that they're kind of just grasping at straws at this point. And also, it's a cool homage, I guess, but I don't know how much, I don't know. I guess it's kind of like the Kelly Greens for the Eagles. They're trying to engage or re-engage a certain segment of the fan base.
So if you were trying to engage the fan base of Philadelphia sports, and you had 2 words to say to everybody, what would you say?
Go Birds, dickhead.